There we go.
Okay,
Miss Burroughs, you go ahead and kick it off.
Hello, I'm Miss Burroughs. I'm Julie
Hi, Miss
Burroughs.
Burroughs.
And hold on, there we go. Had to clear my recording button. I am one of the founders and an advisor at Great Data Minds, and I'm here with one of my favorite people, Kalia. Kalia. Everyone always goes, Kalia, Kalia.
Kalia is a good one. Yeah, you got to think of the vegetable. Kalia.
Kalia. Oh, I never thought about it that way. Okay. Yeah. All right. So Kalia Garrido, say hi. Tell them what you do.
Hello, everybody. I'm also a co-founder here at Great Data Minds, and I am in charge of all the marketing and events that we do. So this is so weird. This is like Inception. It's like I'm on the event to talk to you, but I'm also a panelist, and I'm also coordinating them. This is like many
start of the show,
all the layers. Yes,
the big talker in the show. So
that's it.
So let's do some a little bit of housework here and tell you that we're going to be working over in chat. We're already in there. If you have anything, any input, any questions, throw them in there. Forget the Q&A stuff. Let's go ahead and work that chat over there. This is brought to you by Great Data Minds Women. So if you're not part of that group and found out somewhere from about this event from somewhere else, see that link that Kalia posted, and it's a link to Great Data Minds Women. Sign up and we'll let you in. Okay, we're going to be, we've got a lot of stuff out there. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you about 2 events that are coming up. One that we're really excited about is we were going to get a bunch of women together here in the Denver area by the end of the month, but everyone's getting freaked out about Delta. So it just keeps lingering, doesn't it, Kalia? Kalia's sitting in a hotbed down where she is.
Yeah, I'm here calling in from St. Augustine Beach, Florida, where the COVID rates are now at an all-time high. So we're here today to talk about how to keep yourself healthy. And one of my recommendations may perhaps be don't be in Florida right now.
So anyway, if you're in Denver and you want to, meet with some really great people, look for mentors, share ideas, meet other people that are in the data world, please join us at beloved Wash Park on the 31st. We're going to have a happy hour there, wine, appetizers, good discussions, etc. And then for any of you that enjoyed it last year, we had 157 women during COVID get on a call, and it was right when COVID kicked off last year. And we had 3 panelists come together and talk about moving to the cloud, creating a data culture, and then also changing your culture through lean, agile, and stuff like that. So it's a really great session. As a matter of fact, it's under Insights, under Great Data Minds, where you can watch it. And if you haven't watched it, please do, because it's got a lot of great information. Well, we're repeating that process in conjunction with Janice Henderson. And we're going to be on the 23rd. We'll have 3 wonderful, wonderful panelists. Jessica, how do you say Arate?
I'm still working on that.
Yeah. Anyway, she's just well known here in Denver as being one of the data leaders in oil and gas, and we all know that that's predominantly a male type vertical. So she's really made a difference. Just got an award that we posted out on Great Data Minds Women. Then we're going to talk to Lisa Schmitz, right? Fritz, that's right, Fritz.
Yep.
And, I had lunch with her yesterday, so you think I could remember. Really cool woman running risk management over at Janice Henderson, full of spit and vinegar, just has all kind of great information. And then one of my favorites is Sharon Allpress, and she runs a ventures group over at DCP Midstream. So she's gets up every day and goes in and helps create new products for the mothership and for oil and gas organizations. So she's like walks into innovation every day, which is so cool. So she's going to talk to us during that too. So sign up September 23rd. It will be virtual. And today, Miss Kalia is going to talk to us about Banish, Burnout, and an Unselfish way, self-care for busy women. And, you're so passionate. I love your project always have, which is Healthy Women Leaders. You just are really, really passionate about that. So start by telling the girls about Healthy Women Leaders, and I'll go ahead and I'll put the link over in chat. Yeah,
for sure. So Healthy Women Leaders is a passion project of mine. I find myself always working sort of in the high tech and the business side of digital projects, but one of the truest sort of core passions to me is about keeping myself healthy inside and out. And so I wanted to start Healthy Women Leaders. I started it in Denver, 5 years ago. We've had a number of events in and around the Denver area. We used to meet in person when that was cool and safe to do it. And we did stand-up paddleboarding, we did discussions, and just kind of all these different learning efforts about the ways that you can keep yourself healthy. We've headlined Denver Startup Week a couple times, just done a lot of really cool things. So now it's turned into more of a curriculum. We do video interviews, just like this one, and just kind of talk about different ways that women can educate and inspire one another about how to keep ourselves healthy. Because ladies, as we know it, we got a lot coming at us. And so what can you do to sort of steady your own ship as the waves continue to crash?
Right, right. So what is the reach in that group? I know you're touching a lot of women worldwide, right?
Yeah, we're all around the world now. We've got we definitely have quite a critical mass in the Denver area, but we've got women in the United States. We're overseas as well.
Great, awesome. And Maura, I'm seeing your little chat out here about how you're not seeing the links. So I'm going to try to read. I think maybe because when you joined, we'd already put them. So I'm going to go ahead and add them back here.
Let me try it.
Okay.
How about that? Let us know if that works for you, Maura.
Yep. Hold on one second. And I'm going to go ahead and paste 1, 2, and then I'm going to go ahead and say, so you are passionate about all this stuff, but how did you come to start the organization, and what was that grassroots effort? What did it look like?
Yep. So for me, being healthy always had to do with how many times I had been in the gym that week or how I was feeling in my jeans. And it was really narrow-minded into physical fitness. When I left my sort of corporate career to start my first company, which is called Skylark Digital, and we're a mobile and web application development shop. When I did that, and I now had the power to hire, fire, set salaries, as well as keeping the business coming in and keeping clients happy, because we're a small startup, so it's sort of doing everything. I found, and I had a small baby to boot. That was another thing. It was a baby.
And a teenage child.
And a teenager. So at that time, going to the gym and doing my personal best, it wasn't making me feel better anymore. And I'd always use that as sort of a way that I could, turn around my attitude. It was at that point in my life where I had to expand my definition of what health actually meant to me, to go beyond just the physical into meditation and mindfulness, intentionally being out in nature to, kind of absorb some of the healing benefits there. Nutrition and, yoga. I really broadened my definition of what being healthy meant. And a lot of it boiled down to self-care. And I sort of felt like I had uncovered a not so secret that was, women are very likely to get swept away in the tide of all the other things that we have going on, and to take care of yourself as your first priority, and then take care of everybody else. Put that mask on first, ladies. You got to do it, because if not, you're not clear-headed enough to put it on the kid. That to me it was a big unlock. And I had seen a lot of my friends get kind of pulled under, and I saw more of my friends that were on their way, and I had been feeling it myself. And so I wanted to gather together to sort of share ideas and learn from the women who had come before us for how we could make ourselves feel better on just a day-to-day. Yeah.
I was one of those women. So early on, I've been running data companies for a long time, and stage 3 breast cancer, so I had to really change the way. Well, I still drink my Tito's.
No, you pick your poison. That's one of the life lessons. We're going to talk about that, Julie. That's one of the life lessons. You pick your poison, girls, because there are so many things are bad for you, right? You can, in moderation, you choose the things that you love. You don't want to limit yourself.
Yep. So, a lot of us are in burnout. I'm not, but I see a lot of people that are. I'm very fortunate. I'm surrounded by friends. I'm a little bit older. I don't have kids that I'm taking care of everything every day. But, I do meet with women that are just worn out. The whole, kids at home and working and the whole COVID stuff just put like another icing on the cake. Yeah. So what do you recommend for those women that are feeling burnout at this point?
Yeah. So, I mean, over the years of sort of having these conversations and learning from the women that have come before us, we've begun to put together sort of a curriculum that are, general basic life lessons and core pillars, things to keep in mind as you go about your day-to-day, so that you can sort of find your equilibrium in a really crazy world. Because I mean, when you, just like what you said, Julie, you've got young kids at home. I have a, and they're in and out of school now. There's quarantines happening. There's sickness abounds. There's, and that's only the good side of it, right? Then you have people who are dealing with grief and dealing with these really, really tough issues around everything that's been going on. Now, pull back from even just COVID, you're looking at, massive political divide in our country. And then now it's translated into vax versus anti-vax. We've just had Black Lives Matter, and other social movements are sort of coming to the forefront. There's a lot of pressure and stress that's out there right now. And I just feel like it's totally fair for us all to just take a minute and own that that's what we're going through, and just recognize that in each other. We're all just trying our best. But I mean, it's hard for women anyway. Like, you want to just, you can pull back to when we started Healthy Women Leaders, before all of the stuff that we're dealing with now in 2020 and 2021. And you're talking about the wage gap. You're talking about women that are not seeing their peers at a leadership or management or C-level. You're talking about sexual harassment on the job. You're talking about the fact that women do maybe up to 40% more of the workload around the house in some situations, right? We recognize that it's not the same for everybody, but when you take into consideration all of those things that are happening around you, add on to that all the new things that we've got going on now. And, I think that one of the most important lessons we can give to people is that they need to be able to take, like we said, take care of yourself as that top priority, so that you are better able to help the people that really depend on you. And a lot of times, and again, it's not the same for everybody, but a lot of times the women are the hub of the family. They are, the rest of the family can, their tone or their pace can even be set by what's happening with mom. Why, in my particular case, why is mom crying on the kitchen floor? What's going on? And then dad's sitting there going, maybe you should go take a run. So that was one of the really important life lessons for me, is that you have to find what your medicine is, right? We all have something that we can do when things start to, the ground sort of slides out from underneath you. You got to find what that is, and you got to be able to use it at the right time.
We didn't talk about this before, but I think that working for an organization that has a mindset, a culture around, everything you just talked about. Like, I know that when Sharon, that I mentioned earlier in the call, her daughter sits on her lap a lot of the times. Zen sits on your lap a lot of the times.
Mine does too, sure.
And Sharon just finally, told her vendors and her customers that, I'm sorry, I have this daughter, she's at home, and occasionally she may, and she was okay with it, and so, and her company was okay with it. So I think that, working for a culture that understands there's a lot going on, particularly with women right now, being, mothers and working and everything. So I think that's important too, is working for a good culture. So
absolutely. And we have that at Great Data Minds. It's not like, this isn't like this huge Great Data Minds plug, but I have seen it the other way. And it is so freeing to not pretend, right? One of the things that we always talk about with Healthy Women Leaders, or that you and I talk about, Julie, is balance. And if you have to pretend, or I'm like, this is who I am when I'm at work, and this is who I am when I'm at home. Guess what? We work from home these days. Work doesn't go to this 9 to 5, like out of the home situation for a lot of people anymore. You can't keep pretending that you're this person and that person. Being able to blend those two things together, that alone allows you a freedom and sort of like taking a breath. Like, I mean, honestly, that my little girl could pop in here at any time. We don't know.
She probably will.
Find out. She did it on our practice session. She could pop right in. It's raining, so I think we might be good.
Okay, so you have 5 pillars that you ran through with me the other day. I went, wow, these are pretty cool. And so I want you to share them with the ladies, and we will be sending out this information as a thank you for attending. So I'm going to let you start with pillar number 1.
Yep. So these are the 5 core pillars of whole life self-care. So just a little preface before we get into this. When I first started Healthy Women Leaders, I had a friend that I was meeting with anybody at that time. Like, this is my idea, and I want to gather women together, and I want to start talking about these different ways instead of just doing these like general networking events. Let's talk about health. Let's talk about wellness. Let's like be who we are. And she was all into it. She was like, this sounds great. So then tell me, how do you keep yourself healthy? And I was taken aback, and I was like, oh my goodness, that is such a personal question. I know what works for me. I don't know what works for you. How could I possibly answer that for you? But as time went on and I continued to meet with these amazing women, just like yourself, Julie, or other mentors that I have, women that have written books, I consumed as much information as I could about sort of how to thrive in life. You start to see these themes kind of bubbling up to the top. So that's what we're talking about now. These are sort of these 5 main buckets after doing this research for honestly years. I mean, it's an ongoing sort of a lifelong quest for me, so I'm always evolving it. But 5 different main categories of ways that you can keep yourself in a good way. How do you approach your whole life self-care? So the first one is to truly know yourself. And I'm so passionate about this that you need to do the work. You have to find out who you are at your core, because we are, it's a noisy world, right? We've got noise coming at us from all directions, including our parents, friends, media, work, all these different things. If you don't silence the noise a little bit and learn to be okay with pausing, learn, maybe take up journaling or do some meditation, being able to turn down the noise in your life so that you can figure out more of who you really are, that will open you up to being more of an authentic and clear person. How do you know what to say yes to? How do you know what to say no to if you don't truly know yourself? So that's the first thing, definitely, is to really dig in, do that deep work, and find out who you are at the core. So it's learning to know yourself.
So Kalia, do you recommend, like, I know I do this type of stuff early in the morning. I get up before my partner. Of course, he sleeps until 10. So I usually have plenty of time now. But before all the calls for work start coming in and everything, he's within earshot. So he's kind of chuckling. But I try to get up before everything just takes off.
Yeah.
And do that type of work. Is that the time you do it? Or do you allocate time during the day and just get away from everything, like go to recess and
I love the recess concept. So for me, I'm absolutely a morning person. It's my favorite time. It's a clear time for me. I, over the years, have learned to, especially running businesses myself and having children, I get up super early because it works for me, so that I can really approach the day on my toes instead of being on my heels. And I found back to knowing yourself, for me, that's just the best way. But I've talked to a lot of people about this, and if they're more of an evening person, the morning isn't working for them, then, they could do it over there. But yes, to answer your question, I get up super early in the morning, and I would go, from a couple big glasses of water, if I can, straight into like meditation. When I come out of that, I'll take a run or do something else that's kind of allows me to be in a calm and peaceful and sort of welcoming way when the rest of the family gets up and emails start pinging and, Slack goes off. And at that point, I'm ready to roll.
Cool.
That's what works for me.
Good. Yeah. What's number 2?
Okay. So the second pillar, super important today, is watch what you take in. And this has to do with sort of taking a look at what are you consuming, and just like work with me on consuming. So, physically, what am I eating? What am I drinking? What am I taking into my body? But it's more than that. It's also environmentally, and it's also energetically. So I think one of the things that you want to watch here is who you hang out with. You want to, if you have somebody in your life, Julie, who's like, they call it like an energy vampire. It's like the type of person that after you hang out, you feel worse, and you're not really sure why, but you're like, my teeth itch. Like you don't know what's going on with it. Yeah. Somebody like that, if you have people in your life, again, and you'll hear me say this as we talk, always back to truly know yourself. When you're really getting quiet and listening to yourself, those messages become clearer to you. So watching your social circles, watching what you bring into your house. Are you like over shopping, or you got a lot of clutter around you? Are you buying things unnecessarily or sort of therapeutically? And then of course it's what you eat and it's what you drink, and it's whatever works for you. I have this great story of when I was starting to, again, socialize the concept of healthy women leaders. And I started to put some stuff out there on social media. And a friend of mine said, man, you've been writing about this, and you're so right. It's like what you take in. It's like, I just can't have that glass of wine at the end of the day. And I was like, I know, you have 2. And she was like, no, you don't have two, you don't have any. But for me, a cocktail when I'm cooking dinner is it's just a part of my process, and it's totally fine for me. For her, it wasn't the same. And so this is, again, back to truly know yourself. We're all made up differently, and you got to know what's working for you and what isn't.
When I was going through my breast cancer, my oncologist said the first thing you need to do, you don't have, this is not hereditary, it is totally environmental. So the first thing you have to do is eliminate those people in your life that give you that stress that you're talking about. And I did. I mean, I had to look around and go, okay. And unfortunately, there were a couple of people that I really loved, but my whole stress level went down. So,
right. And you've got to do that. I mean, also when you look at like sort of what you're taking in is like, let's look at social media.
News.
Let's look at news. Let's look at social media. And this little thing right here, my goodness, I can't think of something better to take me out of my present moment, my experience. In my world, if I put this down, there's a beautiful, healthy little girl's face right there. Yep. Right? Like, so, this is kind of the thing. I would say if I could give any bit of practical advice, do not let this be the first thing that you look at when you wake up or the last thing you look at before you go to bed. Allow your brain some time to decompress from, what we're sort of taking in. And, comparison happens with social media. Things look real, but they're not. And there's just so much stuff that's, that's all wrapped up in that. So, watch the phone intake and, make it work for you. That's the thing. For me, it's not super healthy to do it like that. Maybe it's a little different for you, but just, kind of being aware of it can be helpful too.
Yep. All right. Give us number 3.
Okay. Number 3 is watch what you give out. And so this is sort of, how are you showing up in your day-to-day life, right? Are you, I'm putting together this presentation for this. I'm going to be speaking about this at a few big events this year. And my slide for watch what you give out is a woman, and she's got road rage like crazy. She's got a face like this. So like you are creating that and extending that energy. You're pushing it out there. Like, watch how you are approaching your day today. Are you jealous? Are you, comparing yourself? Are you an angry person? Are you sort of, putting all that stuff out there? Or maybe on the other hand, you're a really positive person and you're approaching the world with some, lens of like kind of optimism, things like that. So it's looking at the negative emotions that you put out. It's identifying why, if that is what you're up to, why are you feeling like that? What is causing that? Again, back to knowing yourself. And trying to give more of the good stuff out there. Because man, this world, don't you think we need a little bit more good? Like if you look at, we go back to the road rage incident, right? Let's say this woman, she, and I honestly, I see my husband do this sometimes. He's not like that venomous with it, but he'll get so upset about something. It's like, wait, that person is also when you like break it down, that person is also driving a car near you. That's what they were guilty of. And I'm like, why did you just get so upset? So like, if you beep at them, now you've just like eroded a little bit of their mood, and then they have the potential to go and like sort of spread that on as well. Like, why not? I feel like right now we all could just use a little bit more compassion, a little bit more kindness, and that can spread. That could spread around too. Right now, there's a lot of the other stuff that's coming around. So positive emotion, negative emotion, and then, be aware of those mixed emotions too. I don't know about you guys, but in my daily life, I have found that when something has a mixed emotion of scared / excited in almost equal parts, that means something great's coming. That means I'm challenging myself. I'm about to grow. Well, remember the big old presentation we did for Google? Woo, we were more scared than excited for that. But we did it, and then you feel so great after. So it's just kind of, being aware of what you're giving out, and just being aware that, the world has got a lot of there's some pretty big structural cracks right now. And I think we could spackle it up with a little bit of kindness every day.
Yep.
Try that.
Sometimes you're one of them, but as I look at my friends, I have the best friends in the world, and I have a very small family, but I have the best friends in the world. And there's a couple like you that are always positive, always, one in particular is Libby Jones, you know, and
Yeah.
she's from the South. And I spent 2 weeks with her in her home, worked out of there. But,
Mhm.
you know, that's kind of how we rolled during COVID. And she was never negative towards anything, always positive towards stuff. And I swear to God, I said, Libby, I forgot how positive you are. So now I go,
Yeah.
when I find myself kind of going a little negative on something or someone, or, you know, wanting to beat my horn, I go, what would Libby do? You know, like
Yeah.
Libby's always like, good morning, you know, and everything. And
Yeah.
it just brings the whole room up, you know?
Yeah. And it's not like, this is another one of the kind of life lessons. I was just talking to a friend about this today. It's not toxic positivity. If anybody's familiar with that term, it's not like everything's fine. Like picture that little dog like having tea in a burning room, and you know the meme, and he's like, everything's fine, or like, shit ain't fine today. We got a lot of stuff that is just not fine, but it's just kind of approaching it with a like, we are all on this planet at the same time, experiencing the same things. We are not as separated as we think we are. We're all trying, just try your best and show up in that way. Be grateful for the good things that you have. You know, you can turn your story just a little bit so that something say, you know, oh my God, the guests are almost here and I'm not ready. Everything's not ready. You could say, hold on a second, I'm about to have friends over for dinner. Number one, we can do that again. Number two, I have enough money to put food on the table for them. Number three, we're all here together. Like you can look towards the good things. And then, you know, another bit of advice in the life lesson category I have is like, time box your pity party. If stuff goes wrong, stuff happens. I'm going through it right now. And I was just telling Julie, I said, oh man, I had a tough day yesterday, but today we're filming this. So we're gonna have a happy face today. So time box your pity party. Don't let it become a part of your identity. Just understand things happen, and then you know you dust yourself off and you record a conversation today.
I happen to notice that these things happen with my friends that have teenagers. So I was a horrible teenager.
I was too. I totally was. And so I have these talks coming up to talk about this kind of stuff. And I'm like, you know, sometimes I want to just like start the conversation with, I have a 16-year-old son. Just leave that there, like a period at the end. That's how you know that we're going through it.
All right, give us number 4.
Okay, so number 4, and I need some advice on this. I don't know if in the chat or reaching out to me after. You can of course reach me at Kalia Garrido at Great Data Minds. I think a lot of you have talked to me on there, or at Healthy Women Leaders. But to me, the term self-care is really limiting these days. It implies something that has to do with like eating chocolate in a bubble bath. That's like a finite little box activity, and that's not at all what we're getting at here. So I am actively looking for a better term for self-care, if anybody can think of one. But the 4th pillar is about self-care. It's about I call it treating yourself lovingly. This is like taking care of yourself with a regularity, right? It's not something that you go out to do. It's something that you go in to do. Are you being compassionate with yourself, giving yourself a break? Like you said, life is tough, you know, at any point in time for a busy working woman, a mother, you know, really, honestly, anybody. But are you practicing that self-love? Are you really being nice to yourself on a daily basis? And this can take any form, right? This can take, you know, having a minute after a really big day, like taking a minute, take a breath, pour that glass of wine, take a minute and like choose yourself, you know, like I made it through this, and like recognizing your wins, you know, allowing yourself some time, taking yourself out for the big things, you know, go to a retreat, or travel. Like Julie is one of the, you know, biggest sort of world travelers that I know. And for her, that's a whole part of experiencing life and like really getting in there. It's a very important thing to you. Maybe that's your thing. Maybe it's staying home. Like for me, I have this silly thing. You know, I run cold, right? You guys know what I'm talking about. I run cold. I'm generally colder rather than warmer. And I'm also the laundress in the house. So I will do these loads of laundry. You know, you get like a sheet or a sweater or a towel, and it's just come out of the dryer, and it's so warm and it smells so nice, and like just like wrapping yourself up in that. I am so historically known for being cold, running to a family member and wrapping up a family member to warm towel, and they run hot, and they're like, what are you even doing? But for me, it would be like the best thing. So I have to truly remind myself, I'm like, no, my towel goes on first. Like I can, give myself a minute and like sort of feel that.
Even that, I got an Apple Watch for Christmas, and
Yeah.
it's constantly like, stand up, do this, do that, here's your rings. And you're like, oh my God. But the one thing I did keep on there is that breathe. It'll tell you, 2 or 3 times a day to breathe. And I'm like, I always, when I did, even before it told me, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. And now I kind of like it because it's just time to breathe. And I always stop and I do it.
Right. And when you become aware of that, your shoulders, when I first became aware of this stuff, I swear my shoulders drop about 4 inches just every day because I'm just all day long like this. And then you get into it, you're like, okay, we can just take your foot off the gas for a second. Don't be rushing around, like you can have a minute too.
Our friend Patty Clower that we know and both love, she has another way to get through the day and to treat herself well, because she, what she recommends is only do 45-minute meetings. And that way you have time to get yourself together, treat yourself to a nice cup of coffee, calm yourself down, do a little breathing, so it's
You're trying to remind me to pick up the pace? Is that what you're saying?
I know we said we'd be a half hour, but I'm kind of enjoying this. So we might be a little bit longer. So, all right, give us number 5.
Okay, so number 5 is about expecting the awesome. So I think it was actually Tony Robbins that had this like really great story that just really resonated with me. And it was about, going to a party, and like, let's say we both go to a party. Julie and I go to a party. Julie goes into one room and I go into another room. In my room, I'm sitting on a couch, and next to me is a couple, and they're having a domestic, and they are just fighting it out, like the two of them the whole time. I'm just sitting there drinking my beer, being, oh, this is terrible. Julie's in the other room, and they're doing karaoke, and they're having so much fun.
Dancing.
Like this is a we both were at the same party, just like we're all living here Wednesday, August 4th or whatever. So you're doing that. Our experiences are completely different based on what we're looking at, right? So had I chosen to look for the positive, I could have gotten off that couch, gone over to Julie's room, and then had a blast of a party, right? So in any case, the 5th pillar is to expect the awesome, is to be looking for the good. If that's not working out, what you're doing right there, go into the next room because they're having more fun, right? You can change the way that you see things so that the things around you appear to be different. So this has to do with believing in yourself is a huge part of this. You gotta believe that you can do it. Why not you? When I get that scared, excited thing, I say, why not? Why can't I do this? Why can't I start a business? Why can't I do a fitness competition? Why can't I have a baby? Why can't I, partner with you? You've got to believe in yourself. And then it's also believing in, almost the benevolent. It's like, is the universe working with you, or is it working against you? And whatever you frame that up to be, you'll be validated in whatever it is that you're looking for. So again, not talking about putting rose-colored glasses on. I'm not talking about being toxically positive. We're talking about being excited for the day. What could happen today? What could happen today? Like if you tell yourself when you wake up, something amazing is going to happen to me, and you keep that in mind, I guarantee you don't have to find a $20 bill on the street. It could be a glance or a nice nod from a stranger. It could be somebody pays for your coffee. It could be anything, at all like that. And so when you're looking for those good things and finding them, you'll be validated, and you'll be more likely to share it with somebody else. So just be that example that you're kind of looking for. Show other people what it looks like when you're positive and you're, most days, right? Yesterday, I can tell you it was a shit show for me. I was not very positive yesterday, but today I feel a little bit better.
I thought you did a pretty good job yesterday, given all the crap.
Did you see my puffy eyes?
I don't see you in full glasses most of the time, but you did a great job handling that. I had a friend named Betty Sarber, a good friend of mine, that taught me mountaineering and how to, hike those 14ers and everything. And she was just a gem to me. And I remember I was single for like 6 years and I didn't have anyone. And she said, you have got to smile and put yourself out and, be bold, because people want to be around people that are smiling and happy And I,
Mhm.
I always took that to heart. And I always, when I get in an elevator, I always talk to everyone, it's like, what
Yeah.
are you doing today? And stuff like that. And
Yeah,
people, they like that,
they
they're interested in the fact that you're interested in them. So
right.
anyway,
And beyond just the surface, like the niceties and the fakeness, and the not to say that niceties are fake. I don't mean it like that, but how's the weather? What about the Broncos? Like, things like this. Like, I feel like sometimes I want to get into an elevator and just like push the emergency button and be like, who in here has ever been arrested? Like, I just want to, what was the worst injury you ever had? Like, get to like the deep stuff. And when you authentically care, like, we all are living these amazing, unique experiences. And I'm just more interested in sort of like the real things that happen to you, because that's what I can associate with. Not that we all are hoping that the Broncos do better this season. There's more to it than that, to this human experience. Like, we're doing it together. How cool is that? We're driving the earth suits at the same time. I get to work with you. I get to talk to all these people. It's amazing.
God knows we need it more now than ever, right? It's
We
come
do.
together.
Mhm.
All right. Is there really a true, is there a true thing as balance? I mean, as
Yeah.
far as all the women on here, I can only imagine work hard, not all women have kids, but,
But you do, or you've got a partner, and you got people to take care of your mom. You got to take care of people.
Yeah.
And so I think that we can achieve balance if we adjust our definition of what balance is, right? Like, what is balance? And I think that, one of our dear friends, Elaine Marino, she talks about this a lot in her TED Talk. Like, what should the new work week look like? We are at this really critical inflection point where a lot of things have changed and accelerated and sort of caught up with the times, but a lot of things haven't. And I think that the traditional work week, with, here at Great Data Minds, like, it doesn't necessarily affect us in such a way, but at my previous, jobs, it certainly did. Like, we have to redefine what that means a little bit. And I think balance is the same thing. If you can redefine what balance means to you, then you can achieve that. So for me, like I said yesterday, not a good day. That was, if I was to look at balance in a 24-hour period of time, I was absolutely unbalanced yesterday. But I don't think of it like that. I think about it the day before, that day, and today. And perhaps it has to be taken into a longer timeline, like a week. And perhaps in these human lives, it needs to be taken into a longer timeline, like what we're doing with COVID now. What is it, a year and a half in? And I think we can all agree that this year and a half has looked a lot different than our other times. So, if you're willing to expand your time frame around the balance, then I think you've got a better chance at achieving it. And I think that our society at large has got some steps to take so that, we don't still operate in this sort of 9-to-5 work week that doesn't even really make sense, since, again, we've got these and we're connected all the time. Like, I think it should change a little bit.
Cool. I think you've given some great insights. I love this. And, once again, we work hard, we forget how to do those things. So being reminded and getting information from someone like you that is just not obsessed with it, but you just want to try to help people all the time. As a matter of fact, I'm going to speak for you to say that you are open to speaking at any women's conferences or organizations. We've done it in the past. You have done it in the past.
And I have a couple ones coming up.
Yeah. Are they going to be public? Are they going to be public?
I think so. So for the Women of the Channel, which is an organization that we've been involved with for a while, great legacy organization out of Boston. They have a number of events that they do, and I've got I'm going to be speaking next to not right next to, but I'm looking at the positive. Erin Brockovich is the headliner of this one. I know. So it's going to be in Palm Springs in California in November, and then in Manhattan actually in December.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to share that hotel room with you in Manhattan.
I knew you would. I knew you wanted to. You're the one who loves New York the most. I got to see New York through your eyes, which was looking at the positive, because I have to tell you, didn't have that opinion before about New York.
Love it. So if people want to get in touch with you, I just put both of our emails here, but also we recommend you go over to Healthy Women Leaders. You've got a Facebook channel.
Yep.
What
And
what
then there's
else?
Instagram and we've got YouTube. We're doing these really awesome interviews now. And I'm so passionate about this. Just more of what I've been doing along, talking to women that have figured something out when it comes to health or wellness. They've got something to share. I just want to help amplify their voices. So if anybody listening is one of those women and you've cracked a code on something that you think needs to be shared out, please let me know. And I would love to talk to you and sort of learn from you and just keep collecting more and more information. I just don't see why we can't thrive. You know, I think that women in general are can be just as virally contagious as what we're dealing with now, but in niceties and positivity, and help to just kind of fix up some of the cracks that we have in the world, just overall, just incrementally. That's the thing. I think for kind of in closing, I don't think we're that far off. For as many problems as the world has right now and all the things that we're going through, I feel like it's almost the rabbit ears on the TV sets. Your picture's all fuzzy, you're not feeling right, you're not feeling great, you're not thriving. It's not that much difference to just make a slight change. And if you do that, that picture can come in clearer. And so that's kind of what I want to share, what I'm learning as I go about all this is, how do you make those just slight adjustments and then bam, the picture can be clear. And it's not every day, but if you can feel better in your day-to-day, why not? That's what I want to do.
And God knows the world needs more healthy women leaders.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't see any questions, but I can't see it. I got chat on here. Can people can they speak? Did you unlock them on that?
If they want to, they could either raise their hand or ping
Okay.
us in the thing, and we can certainly we can turn their mics on if they have something to say.
Okay, cool. And then, like we said, we're going to send out a thank you for coming email, and on that will be all 5 of these. And love to hear from you afterwards in response to that email. If you guys have any insights you want to share, that's awesome. And hopefully you'll join us on for our upcoming events listed down on Great Data Minds Women. Kalia, always fun. I've got a meeting with you in 10 minutes, so I'll see you then.
I won't be late.
All right, guys. Happy day.
Thanks, everybody.
See you. Bye.
Bye.